So sitting in a way that you can feel your sits bones, those little bones at the bottom of your tush, so you can kind of rock from side to side or tilt your pelvis forward and back and access those sits bones. If you can't feel the bones, that's fine. Just looking for a connection of the gluteal muscles as well into the support beneath you. So I want you to feel like your lower body is settling deep into like warm water, and maybe into some, if it doesn't gross you out, like this idea of like mud or silt or something soft and squishy. Otherwise, just stick with water. And allowing that imagery to help you settle your lower body. And with every exhale, allowing the lower body to get a little bit more rooted. You can even imagine that you have roots at the bottom of your sits bones and maybe the legs or the knees, whatever is connecting to the floor. Allowing some energetic roots to just start to grow down into the floor or the earth beneath you. With every exhale, deepening your roots. And just as you are getting more rooted and planted, begin to bring awareness to your spine, imagining your spine as a little sprout or a reed, a blade of grass, whatever works for you. Just imagining this growth upward, that your spine is reaching up toward the sun. So every exhale you root down, and with every inhale the spine and the crown of the head grow upward. And this happens together at the same time. Focus your attention on what happens in the spine physically as you inhale and exhale. Perhaps you notice a slight rocking motion forward and back or side to side. Very small movement. Noticing there's never a complete stillness, that we're always in some type of movement, always shifting and changing. You can stay with this mindful embodiment. So today's theme for our class is grounded in the middah, the Mussar trait of equanimity. Menuchat nefesh is calm or restful soul. This equanimity that is inside of all of us, that allows us to withstand the challenges of life, that allows us to move through transitions with grace. And we'll explore this equanimity through our physical practice, our balance poses today. And we'll also explore the ways that we build resilience within ourselves to get through the challenges of life, the challenges of this last year, and as things start to change, how we move into this new way of being. There's wisdom writing from the Talmud that I would like to share with you. A reed that stands in a watery place sprouts shoots and has abundant roots. So even if all the winds in the world come and blow against it, it will not shift from its place, but rather it will sway to and fro with them. When the wind settles, the reed yet stands upright in its place. Our rabbis have taught a person should always be soft like a reed and not hard like a cedar. And in this reading, what stands out for me is the use of the word place 3 different times in this very short paragraph. It stands in a watery place. It will not shift from its place. A reed stands upright in its place. And so this referring to a physical place, which is so important in building our resilience, to surround ourselves with an environment that supports us and strengthens us and allows us to access our equanimity. And there is a place inside of us deeply, so that no matter where we're planted, we have the capacity to access that place of stillness, that place of flexibility and peace to help us weather the storms. That it's always available. So we're going to do our hug breath today again. We did this last week, so you can take one hand and place it under the opposite armpit area, just kind of nestle it under there, and then the other hand's going to come across to your opposite shoulder. So you kind of create a little hug, and then let the weight of your arms drop down onto your chest. And then tilt your chin toward your chest just a little bit and take a deep breath in. As much air as you can, and then let it out. Notice how the weight of the arms adds a little bit of pressure to the chest, so that the breath needs to go down a little deeper into the diaphragm area. This is a great way to regroup if you're feeling unsettled, to come back to the body and your breath. One more exhale, and then let your arms come down to your sides. We're going to, if you have a block or you're on a chair, we'll go ahead and remove that support, and we'll sit back onto the sits bones, onto the sacrum a little bit, and the knees will be apart, and we'll just start to bring the knees down to one side and then up and down to the other side. So we're just warming up the hip joints for our standing poses here. This is called a knee down twist. So things to be mindful of is to press into the floor or into your mat with your hands so that you're not sinking down into those shoulders. Draw in on the belly. You want to always have a little drawing in happening in the navel area. And notice how the hips feel, if one side feels looser or tighter than the other. We'll do just a couple more of these. Good. And then go ahead and turn onto your all fours. And let's bring those hands under the shoulders and the knees under the hips, and just start to move through your cat and cow. Just saying good morning to your spine. Exhaling as you round through the cat pose. And inhaling as you arch the back and reach the tailbone and sits bones back behind you and gaze up. You can wag your tail a little bit, do whatever feels good. You can combine shifting the weight forward and back. You can come onto your fingertips or knuckles if you need to for your wrists. So playing with this imagery of whatever's on the floor is rooted, right? It's planted, it's stable, it's grounded. So your hands or knuckles are rooting down, your knees and shins are rooting down, and then the rest of you gets to play and grow up and sway and move. Good. Let's go ahead and curl the toes underneath and sit back, if that works for you. See if you can spread those toes apart. Do what you can. If this causes cramping or anything, you can opt to just sit back on your heels. And release your wrists. Do some circles. Shake everything out. We're going to continue with some hip warm-ups, and we're going to do some myofascial release on our calves. We've done this, I think, maybe one other time in this class. It's very profoundly releasing of the calves. So first we'll come onto the all fours again. Draw the navel in and kick that right leg back behind you. So the hips are pointed straight down to the floor. And you'll keep your foot flexed and you'll bend and try to bring that heel towards your butt, right? So just as if you could touch your butt with your heel. Now point your toes and extend that leg long and squeeze your quad and squeeze your glute, and imagine those inner thighs are magnetized toward each other. It's going to keep your leg from flying out to the side. Okay, connect to your belly again. Flex your foot, draw that heel in, activating the hamstring. Point and extend. Flex, bend, squeeze the hamstring, point and extend. One more, we're going to flex, bring the heel in toward the butt, but keep it there. Now I just want you to shift your knee out to the side and start to do some circles. If you've lost the connection to your abdomen, go ahead and draw that in again. Do some circles in both directions. How big can you get those circles, or whatever shape you're creating? Good. And release. Good. Curl the toes, or not, whatever works for you. Sit back, release your wrists. Turn the tops of your hands to your thighs and press into the wrists. Good. Now we'll do the other side. We'll extend the left leg, square your hips. They usually that one lifted hip wants to kind of open up to the sky, so I want you to really point them straight down, draw the navel in, flex the foot, and try to touch your buttocks with your heel. Point the toes and extend and reach. Flex toward the butt, point, extend. Do you feel your hamstring warming up? We're going to keep doing this a couple more times. Keep breathing. Okay, we're going to flex, bring it in toward the butt, and then bring it around to the side and do some circles. Try to get them nice and big without losing your core connection. Couple more. Good, and release. Let's go ahead and take a child's pose. of your choice. Knees can be wide or close together. Extend those arms out in front of you. Let your head rest on the floor or a block. Take a big breath in and let out a sigh. Let's do that again. What sound does your body want to make right now? Take a moment to bring to mind the ways that you build resilience in your own body, mind, and spirit. What are the practices that bring you back to equanimity and resilience? Some might be really obvious, and there might be things that you have in your life that really support you that might be unique. Okay, we're going to come up again, and I'm going to walk you through this calf stretch. It's not really, it's a release. It's not really a stretch. So we are going to come onto all fours, but we're going to come down onto the forearms and walk the elbows out a little bit. So we're kind of extended. Enough so that you can lift your left knee and wedge it behind your right knee, like right below the knee, the back of the knee. You're right at the top of your right calf with your left knee bone. So that's why we want to walk those arms out, and we're going to want to keep the core engaged. We don't want to sink or sag into this because that would be not great for our lower back. So we're really doing a lot here already. We're already working our deltoids, we're working our core. We've got this left knee lifted and placed on top of the right calf. And then we're going to start to shift our weight back and keep the knee in the calf. And you'll feel you have full control over how much pressure you apply. What I like to do is move forward and back and lift and lower that left foot. So I imagine I have a string attaching my left ankle to my hips. So I shift forward, everything comes forward, I shift back, and that foot lowers. You'll do that a few times, and then you can maneuver your body to come a little lower onto your calf with your knee and just play with different areas. Some of you might have really sensitive inner calves, some might have outer calves, upper or lower. Ooh, this is fun, right? Be really gentle and just be curious. So this is like foam rolling, but it's with your own body, and it's a little more intense because we've got more focused areas that we're addressing. Let's do one or two more. It's a lot of work, I know. Good, and then go ahead and sit back. Release your arms. And we'll come to the other side. Back onto the forearms. This time we shift forward and the right knee comes behind the left calf. And you start to shift your weight forward and back. Keep breathing. So our muscles need oxygen, so we want to really bring some oxygen to these tissues. We'll take a couple more passes through any areas that need it. This is a great one to do before activity, before a workout, before a class, a hike, a run, a tennis, anything like this. This is a great warm-up for the muscles. Good, and then go ahead and just take a child's pose. Relax your arms. All right, and then we're going to come up to standing. Bring your feet together, zip up your inner legs, bend the knees, and bring your hands on top of your thighs and just do some knee circles. Keep your belly engaged so you're not just hanging on the lower back here. You're really engaging the core to support the slight bend that we're in. And then reverse your circles. So we're warming up the ankles right now, the knees. Starting to build some strength and resilience in the lower body so that we can maintain equanimity in our balance poses. And then come on up. Let's do standing twists. So legs are wider than hip width, and just start to let your arms flop from side to side, gazing over your shoulder. And then when you turn, lift your heel, your back heel up, so that your knee is always tracking over the toes. Good. Come to stillness. Bring your feet under your hips. We're going to open up the neck from a standing position here. So we're going to bring the right arm behind the back. So my palm is facing out, facing away. That feels pretty much like the only way I could do that. I don't know if any of you would have your palm facing your back, but I've got the palm facing away. And then the right shoulder is dropping down away from the right ear. So we want to keep that there, getting into the deltoid here, or the anterior, the front deltoid. Then you're going to take your left hand and bring it to the back of your head just a little bit. So it's not quite on the side, it's just behind the head slightly. And very gently, we're going to look to the opposite pocket. So we're going to drop the chin and gaze toward what will be your left pocket, front pocket. Very gently, there's no need to add a lot of pressure here. You're just guiding that muscle to release. Now here's how we get into our scalene, the front of our neck. We're going to keep the chin toward the chest, but we're just going to start to turn the head up toward the sky. So you keep the neck, the inflection, and then just turn the head. And you'll feel, if you're in this position properly, you're going to feel a stretch in the front of the neck on the right side. And be really gentle about this, please. Take some deep breaths. What I find is that coming out of it is really important to be just as gentle. So I'm going to have you, if your head's turned, I'm going to have you turn your head back toward looking toward your left pocket, and then release your hand from behind your head, and then slowly start to lift your head, really slowly, and then release your arm. And do some shoulder circles, both directions. And then we'll do the other side. So hand comes behind, the left hand comes behind. And then the right hand comes just behind your head. And then drop your chin toward your right front pocket, if you had on jeans or pocket pants. And take a few breaths here. No force, just gentle support of the back of the hand, or the hand on the back of the head. And now start to just turn the gaze or turn the head toward the sky. You'll slowly start to feel the stretch moving into your scalenes, into it's actually your sternocleidomastoid. What a fun name is that? It's like your front neck muscles, those ones you see, the larger muscles you see in the front of the neck. So when we're on our screens and doing all the things we do, these are the muscles that get shortened. A couple more breaths here. Slowly start to turn your head back down toward your right pocket, And then release your hand and start to bring your head back up. Release your left arm, do some circles. Bring your hands out in front of you, clasp the hands and reach them out in front of you. So you're spreading the shoulder blades apart. And then reverse your clasp, so you spread the palms, keeping that reach. And then slowly bring those arms up overhead without shrugging the shoulders. Big breath in. You're all standing, right? So then we're going to make sure those legs are close together. With your hands clasped the way they are, we'll lean over to the left, engaging the belly. As you lean to the left, really root down. Feel those roots of your right side of your body, the leg and the foot growing into the ground. And then come on up. Take a big breath. And exhale over to the other side. Feeling the swaying of the upper body and the rootedness of the lower body. Come on up. And then do some wrist circles all the way down. Really spread those hands out wide, fingers wide, and release. Good. Now just shake it out. Just do some shaking. Release anything that needs to release. Good. Okay, we're going to start to open up the hamstrings. So we did the calf, we did some myofascial release. Now we're going to do some dynamic stretching for the hamstrings for our standing poses. So I'd like you to stand on your left leg and bring your right foot out in front of you. And the foot can be flat for now. And the movement is that we bend the back knee. Keep the back flat, so we're not rounding like this. This is not no bueno. So we're going to tilt the hips forward, hinge at the hip crease, and come down. As we come down, we lift those front toes. So right away, I know that I need to open up my stance from right to left so I don't fall over. So we're going to shift the hips, the top of the body forward, hinging at the hips and lifting the front toes, and then come on up and you can flatten the foot. Just do this a few times. It helps to look out in front of you so you can keep your focus and your balance. And keep the belly engaged. Hands can be on the hips, lifting the toes, hinging forward, getting into the hamstring. Good. If you want to include the arms here, you can start to scoop the arms forward. Inhale, exhale. One more. Good. Okay, this is the part where if you want a chair for support, you can use it. We're going to practice standing on that front leg, on the right leg, and keeping the belly engaged, hips square, just like we did in our bird dog warm-up. And we're going to imagine that we have a weight in our hands, or you can use one hand and hold on to a chair or something that's stable. And we're going to start to hinge forward like we're placing the weight on the floor, and then we're going to come back up. So I'm making the movement really small, really small. My front knee is slightly bent. This is super challenging. So with support, you can hold on to a wall or a chair. Imagine you've got like a dumbbell or something, and you come forward. You can come down to a T shape with your body, keep your belly engaged, and then press into your heel to come back up. Oh, we're strengthening and lengthening the hamstring, all the hamstrings in the back there. A couple more times. You really want to keep your belly pulled in. Good. Ooh, that's nice and warm, right? And then we'll do the other side. So bring your left foot out in front of you this time, right foot is back, and we'll start to hinge and open up the hamstring. You can flatten the foot as you come up if you want. Lots of breath. So cultivating resilience in the body, strength to withstand the challenges. Good. Now maybe including the arms if you want, inhaling, reaching up. Good, so now your left front leg is your standing leg, your supporting leg. Your belly's pulled in, hips are square. You have your imaginary weight either between your two hands or maybe with one hand as you support yourself with your other arm. And you're going to start to hinge forward, lower that invisible weight down, and then come back up. Keep breathing, inhaling as you come down, exhaling as you come up. And I'm tapping my toe down behind me every time I come up. You can try to keep your leg up if you want, or you can kind of re-center yourself each time. Let's do one more. Very nice. Good. Shake it out. We're going to open up our legs really wide. Toes point forward. And let's come forward into Prasarita Padottanasana. So just release your back here. You can use a block if you need to place under your hands or your head. And I'm going to invite you to bend your knees just a little bit in this shape today. And breathe into the back of the body. So with the body, we want to think of this idea of what it's like to brace the body versus bending the body. We want to try to stay soft and supple, like a reed or like bamboo, which is very strong. Good, and then just start to heel toe your feet together until you can come on up with a flat back. Okay, so we are going to move dynamically through a couple of different poses. We'll start with our crescent lunge. So the right foot is forward and the left, you're on the toes of your back foot, the toes of the left foot. Heel toe your front foot out to the side a little bit so you feel like you've got some stability and you're not wobbling on a tightrope. Good. And just bring your hands to your hips and tuck your tailbone, draw your tailbone under you, and feel the stretch in your psoas, in your left psoas or hip flexor. Just notice that first. Okay, now what I'd like you to do is step your back foot forward until your heel can almost come to the floor. Maybe it'll come to the floor or close to the floor. And if you're able to, turn your toes in a bit on the back foot. Internally rotate the leg. So it's like almost like your back foot's a little pigeon-toed. And then you've got a little tiny bend in the back knee. Front knee is bent. So we're going to do a dynamic hip flexor stretch here. So lift your left arm up. And think of pulling or drawing the tailbone underneath you. And then with your belly engaged, lean back just the tiniest bit. And if you're able to, also start to rotate your upper body to the left, to the arm that's lifted. And we're going to get deeper into the hip flexors here. Keep that back leg very active. Good, and release. Okay, so go ahead and just shake that out for a second. And then we'll come back into that original crescent lunge stance. So the left leg is back, feet are railroad distance apart, right and left sides. You're going to bend the back knee just a little bit. Tuck the tailbone underneath and reach the arms up. Draw the navel in. So we're going to go from crescent lunge to a stork pose. And however you need to get there is fine. You can take little steps to get there. You can try to sweep your leg up and come right into stork. So we're gonna start to lean forward and bring the weight into the front foot, and then start to bring the back leg up into our stork pose. So there we are now, using the hip flexor, activating the muscle. Breathe. Whew. Okay, now for the fun stuff. We're gonna bring that right or left foot inside the right leg. Some of you will be up in the thigh, some of you might bring it down into the calf. We're gonna go right into our tree. It doesn't have to be pretty, folks. It can be really shaky. It could also be perfectly beautiful and graceful. It's all good. Find your tree. As you root down into that standing foot, with that imagery or idea of the lower body being just supported in water or mud or earth, and then let yourself rise up from that space and breathe. Good. Let yourself come out of this side and shake out that standing leg. So we'll do the hip opener first and then go into the crescent lunge. So left foot's forward, right foot is back behind you. And everyone's stance will be a little different as far as distance from feet apart from each other, but I want you to try to turn your back toes inward just a little bit, like slightly pigeon-toed, just a little. Your heel's probably gonna come up off the ground a little, that's okay. And then activate your glutes, especially the right side, and draw the tailbone under, reach the right arm up. And then a tiny back bend. So really important to keep the core engaged because you're going to back bend just a little bit, and then turn your upper body toward the right. It's like you're reaching up almost a little bit back behind you to grab something off of a shelf, but your body, your lower body's in a very weird position. So feel that upper body reaching, getting deep into the psoas. Good. Let your arm come down. And then shake that leg out, and then we'll come right back into our crescent lunge. So keeping in mind, we'll be going from crescent to stork to tree. Back knee is bent in this crescent pose, drawing the navel in and tucking the tailbone. Find your breath. Every exhale, growing deeper roots below you. Every inhale, inviting you to reach up toward the sun, toward the sky. Good. So now we're going to start to lean forward or hinge forward, reaching out in front of us to bring that weight to the front foot. And then as best as you can, you're going to come into, slide up into a stork pose. My trick is to drag the top of my foot into it. Arms can be on your hips or up above, wherever is going to help you with balance. Draw the navel in. And then slowly come into the tree. Whatever position you choose for foot placement, press that foot into the leg and the leg into the foot. It's going to really help strengthen the root system. Don't press into the knee joint though, so be above or below the knee. Breathing in through the nose, out through pursed lips. Just find controlled, calm breathing. And gently start to come out of the side, shake it out. Good. So we'll open the legs, wide, but this time the toes will be pointed to 10 and 2 on a face of a clock. If you're standing on a clock face, bend the knees. Just a little bit, just bend them a little bit. We're actually gonna do a wood chopper, and then we're gonna explore the difference in sensation and how it affects our nervous system to go from a wood chopper into something really slow, like separating heaven and earth. So let's bring the hands together, reach up, exhale, ha! Really let that come from your diaphragm. Ha! Don't be afraid to make noise. Ha! 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 Gather up energy. Ha! Let it go. Ha! Ha! So clearing away whatever is in the way of your equanimity. One more. Good. Notice your heartbeat, your breath. Notice the feeling of your feet on your mat. Do your knees want to bend more, or do you want to straighten the legs a little bit? And then bring your palms to your heart. Palms are facing each other. Soft bend in the knees so that that energy can flow upward in through the body. We will inhale and reach one arm up and one arm down, pressing in opposite directions, and then exhale. So I want you to connect your breath to the movement. So when your hands get together, your lungs are empty. And then you start again, changing sides. I'm going to invite you to breathe in and out through your nose if you're able to for this one. Letting those hands just graze each other as you move through center. And this time feeling like that upper body is moving through a thick liquid. How relaxed can you make your upper body even though it's moving? Let your hands come to your heart, palms together. Start to heel toe or walk your legs together and just in a mountain pose with the hands at your heart. Knees are soft. Good, let's come on down to our seats. We'll use our blocks for this if you need them. There's a lot of different ways we can use our blocks for Baddha Konasana. So you can bring your feet together and use your blocks at any angle to help support the knees. Or you can stack your blocks close to your body and rest your forehead on them. Or you can use both blocks and then also grab a couple of pillows. Whatever it feels like you need. So if your forehead's coming onto support, you'll be able to kind of rest in the pose, more of a restorative pose. If you're using support under the knees or not using any support, you might want to use your hands to help hinge you forward to get more into the inner thighs for more of an active stretch. So see what it is that you need today in this moment to build resilience, to support your equanimity. What do you need? And we'll be in this shape. You can also change shapes. You can also change the ways you approach the shape in the middle. So we'll be in it for just a minute or two. What is a practice that you have now or you've had in the past that you know supports your inner peace, your inner equanimity? What brings you home to who you are? If you're in a passive pose or restorative version of this, your head is being supported, you can use your hands to help press yourself up so that you don't use your lower back to come out of it. And then we will take a seated twist. So you can stretch your legs out in front of you and just release them for a moment. And then let's keep the left leg straight with the foot flexed as if your foot's just pressing into a wall. And then hug the right foot in close to your body. And you can stay just like this, or if your hips have the ability and the mobility today, you can cross your foot over. And we'll all hug the right knee in toward our chest, either with a hand or elbow, crook of the elbow, and use your right arm to prop you up and rotate. Drop the shoulders down away from the ears and relax your jaw. Start to turn your head to face the center again, to face front, and let the rest of your spine slowly follow. And change sides. You want to feel those sits bones or the tissue of the buttocks on both sides connecting to the floor, or whatever you're on. And then rotating, breathing, and creating space between the vertebrae. With every inhale, feel your spine rising up, the crown of your head extending toward the sky. With every exhale, inviting the twist to deepen if that's available to you. Good. We're going to unwind this twist. We're going to do, just for the fun of spring and pollen and all of those good things that are flying around in the air, we're going to do a little sinus release today. So even if you don't have allergies, it's really good for your sinuses. So you can sit on a block, or if you want to move to a chair for a moment, you can do that. And we'll do a sinus release and then a little mindful meditation before we lie down for Shavasana and before you take any other stretches that you might need. So let's bring the index fingers to the very sides of the nose where the little curves are, the side of the nose, and just press in. If you find anything sore, then that's a really good sign that it needs a little massage, so you can press in and then do circles. Oh yeah. And you can make your way out a little bit to the sides, like an inch, a half an inch to an inch out to the sides of their nose. Do some massage. You can just move your fingers up and down as well, just stimulating that area. Do what feels natural, what feels good. Then you can move your fingers around the bottom of that cheekbone, just like you're drawing a line under the cheekbone. You can drag your fingers from the sides of the nose around like a little half circle under the cheekbones. And then bring your fingertips, like your index fingers and your thumbs if you want, and you can pinch the very beginning of your eyebrows. You can pinch and do a little pull. Or if that doesn't feel good to you, you can just press with your index fingers and do a little massage from the beginning of the eyebrows and just above. You can do little circles. You can use more than one finger and start to press into the forehead above the eyebrows and drag the fingers away from each other. And then whatever feels good. So you know your body, even if you don't know exactly why you're doing it, your body knows why you're doing it. So whatever your fingers want to do right now with the facial massage, just let yourself take a minute to explore. Some of you might go into the jaw or the ears. So these are ways that we can build our resilience just by supporting our immune system. When we don't feel good, it's really hard to deal with stressors, right? Daily stressors and big ones. So little tools to build resilience. Good. Just take your hands softly and just run them down your face and cheeks as you would a beloved. And then let your hands slide down to your heart. So bring that left hand over your heart and then the right hand on top. And just take a breath here. We'll do our self-soothing holds and loving kindness mantras, and then settle into Shavasana. So breathing in, may I be filled with loving kindness. Do that a few times. May I be filled with loving kindness. May I be filled with loving kindness. Bring your right hand to your belly. May I be well. May I be well. May I be well. Bring that lower hand up to the forehead. May I be peaceful and at ease. May I be peaceful and at ease. May I be peaceful and at ease. And then take the left hand that's over the heart and bring it behind the head. Cradle the head in your hands. May I be happy. May I be happy. May I be happy. And then as you're ready, you can come onto your back or any position that feels really supportive of you today. You can rest your body, or you can continue with the mindful loving kindness meditation. And take a few moments to integrate the work that you've done today. roots in the water, abundant and deep. When the wind blows, I sway to and fro, and when the wind settles, I stand ever so tall. I am connected, strong as a reed, roots in the water, abundant and deep. When the wind blows, I sway to and fro, and when the wind settles, I stand ever so tall. Take your time rolling to your side and rising up as you're ready. And bringing your hands to your heart. May all beings be happy. May all beings be healthy. May all beings be peaceful. May all beings have freedom. May all beings be loved. May it be so. Ken Yehi Ratzon. Shalom.